Okay, so let's picture this. You're a technically brilliant aesthetic practitioner. Your hands are steady, your eye is unmatched, your protocols are totally evidence-based.
Hmm.
But you know this scenario. The patient smiles, they're nodding, they tell you they absolutely love the plan, they'll call you back.
And then they just vanish, ghosted.
Exactly.
It's the constant friction point in ambitious practices. You can optimize the technical, what the skill, the device is, to perfection. But if you're struggling with conversions or loyalty, the missing piece isn't your technique.
It's neuroscience.
It's neuroscience. It's the neurochemical why behind why people commit or don't.
Absolutely. And today we are doing a deep dive specifically into that why. We're looking at the science of patient decision-making and how to align your entire strategy with really the three fundamental motivation systems that drive every single commitment.
Right. And our source for this is pretty specialized. It's the work of Dr. Arya Masudi. He's a molecular biologist, a former researcher in regenerative medicine, who's now a science tech business consultant.
And he teaches a whole masterclass on this.
He does.
Right.
So our goal isn't just to review, selling techniques. It's to map the patient journey to how the human brain naturally seeks reward, connection, and growth.
So the core insight we're trying to unlock for you today is pretty simple. Successful practices move beyond focusing on what treatments to offer.
And focus instead on why patients commit, why they book, why they become these long-term advocates. If you get the neurochemistry, you stop chasing sales. You just start activating what the patient's brain already wants.
Okay, so let's unpack that with the roadmap Dr. Masudi uses, the three motivation systems.
Yes. So if you find yourself using the same pitch, the same testimonials for everyone, you're missing probably 2/3 of your market. These three core profiles, let's call them type A, type B, and type C, they demand completely different communication.
Okay, let's start with type A, the biological security seekers. Who are they? How do their brains work?
So type A patients are your safety-first people. They prioritize comfort, security, predictability. Before they even walk in, they have obsessively researched every possible risk, every recovery timeline,
All the complication rates.
everything. They are driven by a need to eliminate variables, to feel safe.
And what's so fascinating about the neuroscience here is the reward. The dopamine hit isn't from picturing the beautiful result.
No, the reward is achieved when uncertainty is reduced. Their brains are literally designed to flag threats, and you have to satisfy that threat system first.
So your consultation has to lead with facts.
It has to. You establish safety credentials immediately, show the clinical evidence, talk about complication rates transparently, don't hide them, provide incredibly detailed written aftercare protocols.
So you're using phrases like research-backed or predictable outcomes.
Exactly. You're signaling certainty and control. You're making the decision feel less like a gamble and more like a measured scientific step.
Right, and there was that powerful example in the source material with a Dr. Sarah who did non-surgical facelift.
Oh, her fix was simple but just brilliant. She created this detailed comparison guide, PDO threads versus surgery. It had risk profiles, recovery timelines, specific complication stats.
And by meeting their security needs first, by reducing that uncertainty.
Her conversion rate for those procedures jumped 40%. 40. She activated their type A reward system before she even got to the aesthetic benefit.
Okay, so let's move to type B, the social validators. If type A is internally focused on safety.
Type B is externally focused on perception.
Right.
Correct. Type B patients are motivated by how they'll be perceived by their social circle. They follow trends. They reference celebrities. They're looking for social proof. They're asking, will my friends notice? Will I look better in photos?
And the neurochemistry here is key because the brain doesn't see social recognition as some, frivolous thing.
Not at all. It activates the exact same reward circuits as food or money. Dopamine fires up powerfully when they just visualize getting compliments.
So this is not superficiality we're talking about.
No, it's a fundamental evolutionary need for belonging and status. So in the consult, you have to lean into that. Ask about upcoming events, weddings, reunions, shared testimonials that show social success.
Use phrases like, people will notice, but they won't know why.
Or, you'll feel completely camera ready for that event. You put it in a social context.
I love that Miami clinic example, the glow-up squad.
So good. Patients who bought certain packages, got branded merch, and were featured on the clinic's Instagram, with permission, of course.
And that social currency, that recognition.
Drove a 60% increase in package purchases. It turned patients into advocates. It shows that recognition is a powerful form of payment.
Okay, and finally, type C, the growth and mastery-oriented patient.
These are your self-optimizers. They see treatments not as a quick fix or a status symbol, but as deep self-improvement. They're intrinsically motivated.
They don't just want the result, they want to understand the why.
Exactly. The cellular mechanism of collagen synthesis, the nuances of turnover, they want to master their own biology.
And this is where that long-term loyalty comes from.
It is. The neuroscience shows that the act of learning itself triggers a dopamine release. And because their motivation is based on continuous understanding, it's self-sustaining. It doesn't have that post-treatment motivational crash.
So the strategy has to be almost academic.
Pretty much. Explain the science, create measurable milestones, personalized timelines, recommend further learning articles, books, use language like optimize your results, track your progress towards cellular health.
And that Dr. James example is the perfect translation of this. He created a free Skin Science Academy.
Monthly webinars on cellular aging, ingredient science, and he found that those attendees became his most loyal clients. 3 times higher average lifetime values. He just fed that need for mastery.
Okay, that gives us the roadmap. But now we have to hit the biggest issue, the one that causes the most frustration.
The ghosting patient.
A ghosting patient, the one who loves the plan, they're enthusiastic, but they never actually book.
This is where we have to talk about the critical neurochemical split. You activated their liking system, but you failed to trigger their wanting system.
Liking versus wanting.
It's a huge differentiation. Liking is the experience of pleasure. That's the brain's opioid system. Wanting is the motivation, the drive to get that pleasure. That's the dopamine system.
It's like loving the idea of running a marathon.
But not wanting to actually get out and do the miles.
Yeah.
Precisely. You can genuinely like the plan for a flatter stomach, but if that wanting mechanism isn't activated, you won't commit.
So how do we bridge that gap? How do we activate wanting?
First step is to intensify the anticipation.
Okay.
Remember, dopamine peaks during anticipation, not consumption. So you have to help them visualize a specific moment of change, not just you'll look refreshed.
Make it visceral.
Yes, try. Imagine looking in the mirror 2 weeks from now, right before that dinner party, and seeing that friend-level improvement under your eyes. That's what we're targeting.
Right. And then you have to make the next step frictionless. You have to
Right.
reduce the activation energy.
This is so often overlooked. If the patient has to go home, find their card, call back, get transferred, you've given that wanting system way too much time to just deflate.
Make it a no-brainer.
Offer immediate scheduling of the text link. Process financing on the spot. Make the next step effortless. The less mental energy it requires, the higher the conversion.
And the language you use at the end is critical. Introducing, what did he call them? Implementation intentions.
Yes. So you replace the passive, think about it, with a specific action. You frame the decision as when, not if.
So it's not call us when you decide.
No, it's if you'd like to move forward, would morning or afternoon work better for you next week? It pushes the brain past the abstract decision and into concrete planning.
And of course, you can't forget loss aversion.
The fear of missing out is a much stronger motivator than the promise of gain.
So frame availability as scarcity.
Absolutely. We only have 3 slots at the promotional rate this month is way more effective than just advertising the rate. That London practice that did this, their consultation to conversion protocols,
They went from 30% to 67% conversion.
a huge jump. It just shows the power of removing that limbo time.
So that's converting them. What about the long game? How do you keep them loyal, especially when we know dopamine fades after they get the result?
Right, that's the counterintuitive part. That initial wanting drive can plateau once they've achieved the goal. That's why patients sometimes feel flat or don't proactively book maintenance. You have to keep the anticipation cycle going.
So staging treatments. Instead of a full-phase transformation in one go, you build a multi-phase protocol.
Exactly. You're creating ongoing, staggered anticipation. And for your type C patients, you reframe maintenance completely. It's not keeping what you have, it's mastery and optimization as their skin evolves.
You're feeding that self-sustaining system.
You are. And you introduce novelty. A surprise complementary add-on for a loyal patient reactivates that seeking circuit.
And crucially, it's not just about the dopamine of results. It's also about oxytocin, the bonding hormone.
We evolved to survive in groups. Social connection is a powerful reward. You have to build genuine community and trust.
That treatment buddies example was incredible.
It was. A Sydney practice paired up patients undergoing similar treatments for support. Those pairs saw a 90% completion rate. Solo patients, 65%. That proves the massive influence of the social brain on loyalty.
And you can directly increase that trust hormone in the consultation through the environment, warm lighting, nice scents, a warm handshake.
And active listening. That Dr. Elena method is perfect. She started started every consult with the same question. Tell me about yourself beyond what brings you here today.
Just a 2-minute personal connection.
And it led to a documented 78% booking rate. These subtle rituals are profound. They activate the oxytocin system.
Okay, but before we wrap up with implementation, we have to touch on the ethics. This is powerful stuff.
It is, and with power comes responsibility. This is non-negotiable. You must build ethical safeguards into your model. That means mandatory screening for body dysmorphic disorder.
Which affects up to, what, 15% of aesthetic patients? And their reward system is dysfunctional.
It can't be satisfied by treatment. You also need things like mandatory cooling off periods, a 48-hour wait for big treatments to guard against purely impulsive decisions.
Right, and implementing a maximum treatment threshold.
Exactly. To protect patients from their own dysregulated wanting systems. This is just smart ethical practice.
Okay, so let's summarize this framework so people can apply it tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Step 1. In the first 3 minutes, you identify their dominant motivation, A, B, or C. Are they asking about risk, their friends' results, or the science?
Step 2. You activate the appropriate system. If they're A, you talk data. If they're B, social proof. C, you talk science. Customize your evidence right there.
And step 3. Reduce friction. Activate the wanting system with implementation intentions and loss aversion.
And we can give them the exact closing scripts. For a type A security seeker, you remove risk. Based on the data and my complication rate, you meet all criteria for predictable results. Would you like to book for early next week or late next week?
Perfect. For a type B social validator, you focus on the social payoff. Patients are seeing fantastic, noticeable results in about 3 weeks, just in time for your event. Would morning or afternoon work better to get started?
And for type C, the mastery patient, you emphasize the educational journey. I'll send you that research article. Here's a timeline of what we'll track at 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 3 months. Shall we get your first session scheduled so we can begin that optimization process?
The technical skills are what got you here, but understanding motivation is the factor that will take you to the next level. The real edge isn't the newest machine. It's aligning your patient experience with dopamine for anticipation and oxytocin for trust.
Right. That's the difference between being a transactional clinic and a truly transformational practice.
So what's the big takeaway?
The holy grail of growth is building motivation that sustains itself, which raises a question for you, the practitioner. Which of the 3 motivation types, A, B, or C, is most lacking in your current strategy? And how might diversifying your messaging expand your market without diluting your brand?
That's the homework. Take this framework, identify the motivation type in your very next patient, and adjust your language. Activate their wanting system, and then track your conversion rates against your baseline. You're about to see just how powerful this can be. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.